We have a segment here on Comics and Comics where we, meaning me, give an opinion about something. And if you've ever read any message board post on the internet ever, you will understand why we call this segment, But Let's Face It. James Cameron's Avatar has become the highest grossing movie of all time. And this is remarkable when you realize that movies are making a higher and higher percentage of their overall gross in the opening weekend. Not the case with Avatar. It's holding on. It's not dropping week after week. The movie has legs. Strong, skinny, blue legs. The movie is not horrible. But let's face it. The love that people have for Avatar is ludicrous. There's a new phenomenon going on called Avatar Blues, where people leave the theater and become depressed that Pandora is not a real place. Allow me to read some message board posts. When I woke up this morning after watching Avatar for the first time yesterday, the world seemed gray. It was like my whole life. Everything I've done and worked for lost its meaning. It just seems so meaningless. I still don't see any real reason to keep doing things at all. I live in a dying world. All that I've been doing as of late is searching the internet for more info about Avatar. I guess that helps. It's so hard. I can't force myself to think that it's just a movie. And get over it, that living like the Na'vi is never going to happen. Okay, now speaking as a guy who has gone to Star Trek conventions and comic book conventions since I was about 8, and has dressed up in wizard costumes to play live action role-playing, I would like to say to these people, get a life. Worse. Female fans of Avatar are becoming increasingly vocal in saying that they think that the Na'vi are hot and sexy. Now, I never thought there would be a group of people more pathetic than screaming Twilight tweens. But at least Robert Pattinson is a real guy who might be able to sleep with you, and not a character rig on a 3D Max program. And ladies, when you get turned on by well-rendered cartoons, making fun of anime perverts who are into hentai, that gets taken off the table. You are just as pathetic as they are. And maybe you don't realize it, but you're actually giving some dignity to guys who masturbate to computer-generated, busty schoolgirls. So for you Avatar fans out there, for that I thank you. The plot of the movie, if you don't know, is that the humans are on Pandora and they're trying to get unobtainium, and they don't care what happens to the Na'vi. But I don't know if you were following the development of the movie, but in the original script, the 400-page version, it was actually worse than that, because the Earth scientists had actually figured out a way to manufacture unobtainium, and yet they were still wiping out the Na'vi. The process that the scientists would do is they would take a much more common element on Pandora called lazy screenwriting lithium, and then put it in a plot device chamber and bathe it in MacGuffinite. And some people are wondering, you know, watching the movie, why the incredibly insubordinate Michelle Rodriguez character wasn't put in prison after bailing on the big fight of the giant tree. Well, there's a good reason for that. They needed a character to break the slightly less insubordinate characters out of prison 2 scenes later. And I know it seems like I'm nitpicking. Everyone's going to say, oh, you're just a geek with an attitude. The movie's a big hit. What the hell do you know? Well, I'll tell you what I know. And this is something that is not said nearly enough in this town. You can argue with success. Yes, it's a big hit. You know what else was a big hit? Well, I don't want to look this up because I'm unprepared. The opera Armida in 1771. And I bring that up because, let's face it, James Cameron has become a Mozart who has turned himself into Salieri.